Nothing in this recording is intended as investment advice, and the people in this recording may hold positions in the companies they talk about. Do not make any investment based solely on a tip or recommendation. Please do your own research.
Hello and welcome to Zak's Traders Cafe. Today I'm joined by Dr. Arron Tolley, who's CEO at Aptamer Group. How are you today, Arron?
I'm pretty good, thank you. How are you?
I'm very well. I've been looking at your RNSs for quite some time. It probably would be good to get straight from the horse's mouth what Optimer binders do.
So, Optimer binders are essentially short synthetic strands of DNA or RNA that bind very tightly to various targets that can be of commercial value. So, if you think of a COVID test, for example, one of the components inside a COVID test is something called an antibody. Now, antibodies are generated usually through injecting animals with a compound that you'd like to detect, waiting for an immune response to happen, and then harvesting those molecules so that you can use them in some kind of a functional test, or you can use them to deliver drugs essentially to various tissue types within the body. Well, the problem with antibodies is that around half of them don't function correctly, or don't have the right properties after being generated for the intended end use. So probably in the early 1990s, alternative technologies started to be developed, recombinant antibody technologies, and various other platforms leading up all the way through to nucleic acid aptamer binders. And that's pretty much what we do as a company. We provide an alternative to generating molecules that have high commercial value for pharmaceutical companies to use in their research, or as it would be from the RNS released the other day as part of a delivery system for a drug.
So you're right at the coalface of what pharmaceutical companies need and their activities at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, typically we get approached by big pharmaceutical companies and big biotech companies to solve intractable problems. So where they're unable to generate a binder that they need for part of a critical process internally, then we're generally one of the companies that are approached to solve those problems.
And I presume that because they need you, you've got reasonable pricing power?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, we have to obviously play within the confines of what's appropriate for the service that we provide, but very often we can obviously charge a premium for the service that we offer because of the complexity and the need.
And in terms of, I mean, the recent history of the company, I mean, the market cap's now sort of around 5 million. Presumably, if you tick all the right boxes in terms of your business model, you could be many X times more than that. What are the main growth drivers that you see for the company going forward?
I think for me and what we're focused on is generating steady flows of revenue from our fee for service business to get us to a point of essentially being able to wash our own face as a business, solving more problems for big pharma companies. But because the business generally retains intellectual property, what this does is it puts us in a position where if the end use it becomes a commercial outlet, then we're able to command fees, success fees, royalties, milestones for the exploitation commercially of the solution that we provided.
Is it also the case that you basically have, well, like, we're not saying infinite upside, but the business model is, from multinational companies, billion-dollar companies, etc., and they'll always have a demand for a certain molecule or a solution for whatever they're doing at any one time?
Yeah, I would say that's a fair assessment. I mean, anything from research reagents, tools for diagnostics, and molecules that can support therapeutic development. I mean, if you look at the recent work we've done with the likes of Unilever, we've even found applications in the fast-moving consumer goods industry for our molecules. Typically, in that kind of an industry, you'll find small molecules and kind of non-biological type molecules being used as a solution. However, in this particular case, what was required for the kind of deodorants project that we were working on was a molecule that could work in concert with bacteria and shut down the ability of that bacteria to produce compounds that created body odor. So that, and then also on top of that, the molecules are also required to be able to have a good shelf life if they were to be put into a product, and that actually fits in it plays to all the strengths actually of our platform technology.
And as far as the market awareness of your company, I mean, obviously exercises like this are going to help. But do you feel that the average retail investor is sort of cottoned on to what you do and sees the potential at this stage?
I think so, but I think that there will always be a challenge with companies of this nature communicating the kind of opportunity in terms of the potential value in some of the assets that we're developing internally.
Right, and also, I mean, the other concern that retail investors have is that you're doing stuff which is very sophisticated, and it may also be very expensive. What's the sort of the business, the margins in terms of what you do, and the return on investment that you make in your activities?
Yeah, the margins, not to give too much away about our pricing structure, but the margins are particularly high in the work that we do.
Right. And so that should be something that the market appreciates, and maybe with more deals with, sort of significant blue chip counterparties, that the market will finally get that.
Yeah, I mean, if you consider that the work that we do in general, the fee for service development work, that's priced at a reasonable levels. I mean, the genetics medicine deal that we did when we signed last year was £500,000 for the development of the work, generally speaking. But if you look at that turning into a product that can help in the delivery of a drug to a site of interest, then the kind of upside for the business, should that become a commercial product, is infinitely more than the kind of fee for service. And given that we're aiming to operate at, say, a £3 million cost base as a company, the upside could be pretty tremendous for us when we hit kind of a few products that can generate passive income through licensing.
I suppose that the final difficult question is that, which may be a nice problem to have, if all of a sudden you get, your pipeline is, now 2 or 3 million, maybe next year it becomes 10 million. Do you have the capacity to cope with a sort of influx of orders and business?
No, so that's a good question. We do, because the way the business operates is it works on high throughput automated robotics. So in principle, we've got more capacity than we can actually fill through traditional sales and marketing activities. So we would be able to increase the capacity through hiring staff to meet anything really that the market was able to throw at us.
Well, on that bright note, Arron Tolley, CEO at Aptamer, thank you very much indeed.
Okay, no problem. Thank you.